All right, everybody. Welcome to the Frivolous Podcast, episode 17. I'm your host, Jacob, and, we're back. This 2-week that we're doing now, every other week that we're doing is really helpful for me. I've got some things to talk about today. It's been nice to just kind of have a little bit of a break as opposed to feeling burnt out. It's good. Like, I didn't have to stress about filming every single week I get that little week off to, think and reset and focus on what I want to do next, so... super nice, and I'm super excited about that. I'm going to do some updates about, the podcast and everything at the end of the episode. I used to, start off my episodes with, updates and announcements and stuff, but I thought about it, and it's kind of a boring way to start off a podcast, and it's not a good way to hook your listeners in. It'd be like if I was starting off with an ad, which most podcasts do, but, there'll be updates at the end. Like I said, I've got a few things to talk about today. Then we'll do a rank up, which I won't spoil. But we'll do a rank up at the end, and then that'll be it. It'll just gonna be a typical chill podcast episode. Nothing crazy, nothing special. And yes, I got a haircut. If you're wondering, it's not the lights deceiving you. If you're watching, if you're not watching, then you don't care. And even if you're watching, you probably don't care. But that's all right. Okay. So one of the things I want to talk about. This was a thought I had the other day, and it's something that I have experienced once in my life, and I'm wondering if you guys have experienced it ever in your life. So think about it. In your just day-to-day life, everything you do, for the most part, you're almost always hearing something, right? Whether it's an appliance in your house, like your fridge, or a dishwasher, or a washing machine, or whatever, or it's an animal making a sound, like a pet, or something's making a sound, right? Have you ever in your life not heard anything? You've just heard absolutely nothing. There's no birds chirping. There's no wind rustling leaves. There's no nothing at all. Think about it. I want you to just take a second to think about it. If you have to pause to think, you can. It's one of those things that I had that thought the other day, and I was like, man, that is crazy. And I can say honestly that I have had that happen to me one time in my life, just once. And I was in 7th grade, I want to say. 7th grade. 6th or 7th grade. And I was snowboarding, which I'm not good at. That was the first and only time I ever snowboarded. But I was snowboarding, and I was up on top of the mountain with one of my friends. And, we were snowboarding, and we were just chilling. It was just him and I. And I don't remember who the friend was. It might have been Anthony who was on. I think it was Anthony, actually. But, oh well. We were snowboarding, we were just chilling, and like I said, I wasn't very good, so we had to stop a lot. And he was solid, but he still crashed too. But we were going, and like I said, nobody within. We didn't see anybody on that. What is it called? That slope or whatever. I don't know that path that we went down. And at one point we stopped, and I was just standing there, and I didn't hear anything. But I was wait. So I told him, I was hey, wait, shh. It's be quiet. And we stopped. And there was just nothing. I'm not even joking. There wasn't a bird chirping. There wasn't any wind at the spot of the mountain we were on, because there were trees by us. There was legitimately no sound, and it was one of the craziest things I've ever experienced in my life. And it's weird. It's honestly, it's scary. It's not right. It's so crazy how we get. And honestly, if you live out in the country, you might be used to that. If you don't have a windy night or something, maybe you do get a lot of times where it's just dead silent, because I feel for the most part, if you live in the city, you'll always hear something because there's cars or people or whatever. But if you live out more towards the country and more in the middle of nowhere, the odds of you hearing nothing are higher, because obviously, like I said, you can hear trees if it's a windy night or whatever, or you could hear animals moving or even animals making sounds. But I think you have a higher likelihood to not hear anything than you would in the city. So I think that's why it makes sense that I heard it on a hill where there's not a lot of, animals that live there. I don't think any animals would live on the mountain or you snowboard. So, and we just like that there was nobody on the path at that time either. And the funny thing is about that thought. So the first time I ever was introduced to the thought and the topic of hearing nothing was actually from a book I read in school in 6th grade. And it's funny because I don't read a lot. I would like to read more, but I don't. But when I was in school, I would typically, for the most part, like read the books that they would assign us. Like I'd be like, all right, we'll read this, we'll be good. Like I'll actually do my work, you know. Obviously, if the book was good, I had no problems doing it. But if the book was boring, it was a lot more difficult, and I would may or may not use some internet resources to help me out with that. But I read this book in 6th grade, and it was actually like the first book that I remember reading, like that was assigned for class, that I actually enjoyed. Because obviously when you get assigned a book, you're typically like, oh, I don't want to read this. But it was called Hatchet by Gary Paulson, I believe is the name. His name. It's a very, very interesting book, and they actually made a movie about it, which I haven't seen, which I guarantee you it's not good. But it's a very interesting concept for a book. And I don't remember the entire concept of it like very well. It's about this like kid. I think he's around like 12 or 13, and he like was flying to meet his grandpa or whatever, something like that. And the helicopter or plane crashed, so he was out in the woods by himself. I don't know. It's crazy. But basically, the first night he was there, he ended up building a shelter or doing whatever the heck he did, and he made a comment about, for the first time in his life, there was, he heard nothing. Like, he heard absolutely nothing. And I read that in 6th grade, and I was like, that's insane. Like, that was, like, the most insane thought to me. I was like, that's, like, I really, like, as a 12-year-old, I was like, wow, that's crazy. That's, and then, like, I actually thought, like, it was actually profound to me. Usually when you're that age, not a lot of stuff is profound to you. But I was like, my mind was actually blown in that moment. Because then I started thinking about every single thing that I hear on, like, a daily basis or a nightly basis. And I'm like, man, I've never experienced that. And then like a year later, I ended up experiencing it, which I thought was pretty cool. So yeah, think about that. And if you haven't, or if you have or haven't, and then obviously you can let me know. And if you haven't, I would say I'd recommend doing it, but like how, you know what I mean? It just has to happen. You got to be lucky, I think. I mean, not that I'm lucky and like, sucks for you guys. I've gotten to do it before, but I mean, it is like I said, it's weird. It's cool, but weird. It's one of those things like, all right, it's cool that I did that, but like somebody make a sound. Like I need some background noise because I don't like just the nothingness. You know what I mean? It literally feels wrong. So I hope that made sense to you guys. It's kind of it is a very weird and random topic, but first of all, that's most of the topics that I think of. And second, I just really think that it's such a weird like thing to experience. It's almost like a phenomenon. Like it's just like it can happen, but it doesn't seem real, right? Anyways, so that was like I only have like 2 or 3 things written down to talk about, but so that was one of them. The second one I want to talk about is a car wash. It's just the jump from the type of topics these are is incredible, and there was no good transition there, but. Have you ever thought about a car wash before? And I mean like one of the ones you drive through, not obviously like just washing your car. Like one of those ones you drive through, it's like, it's got all the weird things that are spinning and the noodles that fall on your car and like wash it and soap it up and all that. Have you ever thought about how insane that is? How insane is a car wash, dude? It's the craziest thing. I got my car washed like 2 weeks ago. And I was in there, and I literally wrote it down while I was in the car wash. I was like, dude, this is the craziest thing ever. Like, they've got all these weird lights. It's, like, pink and blue and, like, all these colors. And then, like, they've got, like, different colors of, like, soap coming at your car. And then you're just, you're just like, going through this experience. You can't even see half the time. There's just things hitting your car and spinning and on your windshield. And all these sounds are being made. And you're just in there for the ride. You're in neutral, and you're just chilling. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's like the craziest thing. Like I just can't imagine the person that was sitting there and was like, dude, I got a great idea for like who thought of it? Like all right, if I get these like this really long, like basically noodle looking things, and we put soap on them, and then we just have it drag over a car, that'll clean it. And if we get these like spinning Christmas trees that are on crack that are just spinning at 800 RPMs. That's not even that much. Like 8,000 RPMs, just like hitting the side of the car and the the side view mirrors and everything. Like it's crazy. It's absolutely wild. And then they dry it off and they just freaking have these like insane like blow dryers that are just like, I'm pretty sure if you were an actual person, you would just fly away and get sent to Hogwarts or something. Like it's so crazy. And also imagine working there. Dude, I couldn't work there. It's first of all, it's so loud in there. I cannot imagine how loud it is in there. I mean, I guess I have an idea. Like it's loud when you have the windows up. Imagine when the windows are down, or when obviously don't go through a car wash with the windows down. But like when you're, if you were working there, and I do know that they usually have those big headphones on or whatever. But still, it's crazy. And then like I feel like it's gotta be either really like hot or really cold in there. It depends on like the water. I don't know if the water they use is hot or cold water. I don't know. But like obviously it could be warm because of like the air dryer at the end. That's obviously warmth. Or it could be like cold because of the water. And I don't know if it's at every car wash, but the place I went to and I typically go to, they'll like rinse your car off before you go in. And I'm like, so like that dude's got to probably be getting wet and getting, you know what I mean? So if it's cold out and it's cold water, like that sucks. You know what I mean? So that's you think about how crazy the car wash is. Next time you go in one, I want you to really think about what's happening. Like really look around you and really look at like the sides and everything. Because obviously you go through like, oh, this is really cool. Like as a kid, I thought car washes were the coolest, and I still think they're very cool. This is not an insult to car washes, but they are insane. And I feel like the person who like thought of that was probably not completely sober when it happened, which is okay. It's okay. Okay. But I just think there's no way that like it's the craziest thing. Like some guy just like take a hit and it was like, guys, I got the craziest idea, okay? And his friends were like, that's not even a good idea. And then it turns out to be like $1 million or billion, probably $1 million idea. So that's my thoughts on car washes. And I would hate to work at one, but I would love to make one. That's the thing too. Like who designs those? Because not every single car wash is the same. A lot of them have the same principles, but some of them, have different, machinery and whatnot. So it's like, could you imagine just being the guy whose job it is to design the car washes? That's gotta be one of the coolest jobs in the world. That's gotta be up there with like a roller coaster designer. Like that's literally gotta be up there. We think, dude, honestly, a car wash is kind of like your car going to an amusement park. It's like all this crazy stuff's happening and it's really fun, and then it's over and you're like, all right, that was cool. And then you throw up a little bit. I'm just kidding. I don't but that would be a cool job. Like, could you imagine just like, all right, I'm gonna make it. Like, I would, if I had the chance to design a car wash, I would make it the craziest experience I could legally, like that I was legally and financially allowed to do, to where we'd still make a profit. I would make it absolutely insane. Like I would make people be like, what did I just experience? And I think that was like the main goal when they made this type of a car wash. They're like, let's just make it so where people go through. Dude, oh my God. Could you imagine? I have ADHD. Could you imagine being the first person ever, like the first like civilian? Obviously I'm assuming they tested it with like people who like helped work on it and whatnot. Could you imagine being the first person who had no idea what it was or what to expect that went in one of those car washes? Oh my God, they probably freaked out a little bit, but they probably kept it cool on the inside or on the outside. But on the inside, they were freaking out. But like I would be freaking out. There's like things just like scraping your car. There's, like I said, there's the Christmas trees on the side. Oh my God, I'd be like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? I would think I'm gonna die in there. I would think I was in like Saw. And he was like, I was about to hear over my car speaker, like, want to play a game? And then I'd be like, oh, no, I don't. I just want to get my car cleaned. But I cannot imagine. They're probably like just sitting there freaking out. Like, I got to stay cool. I'm the first person ever. I got to stay cool. And they got out there like, that was cool. And then they drive away and then they just like go park and they just go cry because like, I don't know what just happened to me. Like, could you imagine? I'd freak out. If you did not know what to expect, I would freak out. Like, even as a grown adult, which you can argue if I'm a grown adult or not. But I would not like that very much. Just think, like, I can't, like, as a kid, it's funny, like, oh, this is cool, all this cool stuff's happening, but as an adult, like, you have a more, like, real sense of danger and, like, bad things happening, so you would be like, okay, this could go wrong, like, I could just die in here, you know what I mean? Especially you're, like, the first person, like, what if, like, the water's too hot, it melts my car, or, like, I mean, that'd have to be insanely hot, but, or, like, what if, I get stuck, or what, so many things could happen, so like that, I would have been freaking out. Obviously, we know now how, I don't want to say safe, but how they work. I mean, I guess they're safe, technically. I don't know what the accident, statistics are for car washes. But I talked about car washes for so long. That's insane. I don't know what's wrong with me. This is how my brain works, though. My brain thought about car washes when I was at it, and I want to talk about it, so... Can you guys believe that it's already August? It's crazy to me. It's so wild that it's already August to me. I mean, okay, It's not crazy that it's August. It's crazy that it's like the middle of August. Like it's wild to me. Like some people are getting ready to go to college. I start back up work in a couple weeks. It's crazy and it's awesome at the same time. I love summer. Like, do not get me wrong. I love summer. I know a lot of people that don't like it because they don't love like the heat waves. But I don't mind, even though it got pretty hot here in Oregon, but I don't mind it, if we're being honest. I really don't. I think it's cool, but I can understand why people don't like it. Here's the thing, though. Someone who lives in Oregon, we get rain for like 10 months out of the year. So, like, I don't mind when it's like really hot for 2 months. I'm just like, well, like, I know what it's going to be in January when it's 25 degrees out and I have to watch Recess and I'm just freezing my butt off sitting on a bench. So, I got a wind chill in my face that makes it feel like 17 degrees. And guess what? That's not even the worst part because there's places like Minnesota where it's like negative degrees. So that's cool. But anyways, yeah, I don't mind like that heat wave. The heat wave is fine. But I will say for me, summer it can be a bit boring for like just in general because it can be so hot. So you're like, I don't want to go do anything, like I don't want to go out like side because it's like too hot almost, But like fall, you get to like September, maybe even like end of August, depending on where you're at. But you get to like September and then like early October, and it's like, you're getting like the 65, 70 degree weather. That, I love that. I really do. I love that weather. I love that time of year for sports, which I won't go into too much, but like that's when like football starts, which is really fun. Obviously, you get like the seasons changing. Obviously, you guys know me. I love horror, and October is Halloween, so I love watching a bunch of horror movies in the month of October. I mean, I love watching them in general, but I try to like watch a ton during that month. I love, obviously they have Thanksgiving in November, which, is the holiday good itself, like what it came from? No, but it is cool to like eat some good food and spend time with family. That part's cool. But like the reason we celebrate it is not necessarily, and by not necessarily I mean it's not cool. So, but we don't have to talk about that. We know, unfortunately, the history of this nation. And then obviously you go into December, which is winter. I know when December is winter, then you get Christmas. Like that's just a really cool. That to me is like those. I would say from like September to December, or if you want to do October to December, you can. That to me is like arguably like the best months of the year. Like that best, like the best stretch of months. Because like you get the start of fall and you get to experience fall. You get October where everybody's all excited about the pumpkin spice and they're excited about Halloween and all that stuff. You know what I mean? You get to see. And honestly, I will say I don't go out for Halloween like or anything. Like I don't party or anything. Like sometimes we'll hang out at a friend's house and just like it's not really a party. We're just all hanging out. So I don't see costumes, but I will see like pictures of costumes and seeing like how creative people can be is really cool to see sometimes when like they have like these really like I don't want to say expensive, but like impressive like handmade costumes or whatever. Like I'm sure we'll get some really cool costumes this year. We'll probably get some insane Stranger Things costumes this year. Like we'll probably get like some really cool Vecnas, which I haven't seen that season, but I know we'll probably get some really cool Vecnas. Whatever is like was really popular this year, we'll get. And I can't think of anything else at the moment, but obviously Stranger Things popped off this year. I mean, it always pops off, but it was more so this year too. I just think costumes are a cool way to like express yourself in a way. I'm not, like I said, I'm not big on costumes. I'll wear a costume, but I'm not like, I don't go all out. And my friend Chance and I, we wanted to do a costume together last year. We just didn't have the time to. But this year, I think we're gonna try to do something where we have time to like make it ourselves. No idea what it's gonna be. But honestly, like I am busy on the actual day of Halloween, so that's unfortunate. And so is like my fiance and everything. So we'll see how all that plays out. But do you guys like Halloween? Do you guys like? I know it's like months away, and I don't know why I'm talking about it in August. But do you guys dress up? Do you guys care? Not care? Like, do you go to parties? Like, what do you do? Like, because there's been times where I just like chill. Like I don't go trick or treating anymore because I guess I'm too old or whatever. But but like I do enjoy hanging out with friends. I do enjoy like putting on a costume, just like having a good time. But not everybody does, which I understand. So yeah, I just think that span of months to end the year is very hard to beat because you get a lot. It's funny because you get like to experience so many different kinds of like. I don't want to say emotions, but I guess feelings, like, which is the same thing, really. Because Because, like, September, like, oh, it's beginning of fall. This is so awesome. You get October, and it's all spooky, right? It's all, like, the spooky month. And, like, all right, this is awesome. And you still get the fall. Obviously, it's still fall. You get the pumpkin patches. You get, the apple cider. You get all that. And then you go to November, and then you're like, all right, I'm feeling a little more, like, loving because it's, family time. Or even argumentative, depending on the family. Like, all right, this is family time. And then you go, to December, and then you're like, all right, now I'm feeling like, actually, I guess it's not the same for everybody, but I was gonna say you're feeling giving, because Christmas time people feel giving and generous. Like when I worked in food, that's around Christmas time was when we got like the best tips because people were feeling very generous around that time of the year. But to be fair, not everybody is that way. There are people who have had bad experiences on previous holidays, so they don't enjoy Christmas time or Thanksgiving or don't have family or whatever. And some people would call some of those people Grinches, and there are actually some Grinches out there. They're like, oh, I don't like Christmas, and they don't have a reason. But there are actual reasons. And it's funny. It's something I learned. Oh man, I really do have ADHD. Something I learned. And I don't know how it is in other countries, but I know obviously in the U.S. Christmas is a big deal. Like we celebrate it Christmas is a huge deal here. A lot of places are closed. We celebrate it. We enjoy it. All that. It's a big deal, which is great. I very much so enjoy Christmas. I think it's probably my favorite holiday. Like I said, I enjoy horror and stuff, so you would think it's Halloween, but like since I don't like dress up and go out and do much on Halloween, it's like I enjoy it, but it's not my favorite. I think Christmas is my favorite though because I really enjoy giving people gifts. And it's just cool, man. Like the feeling that you get. Like I love the Christmas lights, seeing the decorations, and just like the feeling that you get from like giving somebody a good gift or something that they really wanted, or even something that they were like, how did you like? I would have never even thought of this, but it's perfect. That's cool to me. And just spending time with family, it's great. And I enjoy it more than Thanksgiving because the holiday isn't. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but like it's Thanksgiving as a holiday, like we've said, is not. It's like all right, this is not great. But, Christmas, you still have a great meal. You still get to spend time with family. You get to give each other gifts and just have a good time, and that's awesome to me. So that's why that's my favorite holiday. But it's not celebrated like this in every country, which I know that's obvious because obviously some countries celebrate Kwanzaa or like Hanukkah or whatever. But like a country like China, because my stepmom and stepsister and stepbrother are Chinese. Like I found out that like Christmas is just like it's nothing to them over there. They don't really like care about it. And like I was surprised but wasn't surprised. Like I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm surprised not everybody celebrates this holiday because obviously like I know that, it's like you mean to tell me not every country celebrates 4th of July with us? That's weird. But I was just like I was surprised because I thought they would at least like it'd be a little bit of a something, but I guess it's more of a I don't want to say American because obviously I think that we're not the only country that celebrates Christmas, but I'd say maybe it's more of a Western thing. So I just thought that was an interesting thing. Like I didn't realize that. I understand that like in America it's maybe it's bigger in America than it is in like let's just for example Canada. I'm not saying it is, but that's just an example country. But like I was like, oh well, Canada still celebrates it. They just don't care as much or whatever. But no, like for China, it's like nothing to them, which is like I said, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Obviously, like different cultures, different celebrations, all that. We don't go crazy for the Chinese New Year over here, and they don't go crazy for our New Year. Like, and why would we either way? So it makes sense. But I thought that was interesting little tidbit, which most people listen to. It's like, well, yeah, duh. And I know China's not the best example considering that the country's communist and they do things very differently from most other countries, but. That's the country that I know about, so that's why I use that one. So yeah, I thought that was weird. So it'll be cool for them, honestly. This year, Christmas will be cool, I guess, to see. They'll get to see like all the decorations and all that. So that'll be cool for them. I imagine. I don't know if they'll really care too much, if it'll be a big deal to them, but I mean, maybe once they see it, they'll be like, "Oh, this actually is pretty cool." They get all the cool stuff. They're like, okay, wait, hold on now. We've been missing out on all these gifts these years. Hold on now. Oh man, I'm so dumb. Okay, so I'm gonna backtrack back to Halloween. Of course I am, right? I thought of something when I was talking about Halloween, but I wanted to like keep it in the back of my head because I wanted to continue on my main point. I'm trying to work on that, by the way. I'm trying to work on like not jumping from topic to topic and then not finishing like my original thought, which I haven't done very well so far in this episode, but that's okay. It's a work in progress. But I think I should try to do something, and maybe I could do it with like a friend or whatever, where like a little mini challenge, which it's not really a challenge, so I'm not gonna act like this it's really hard. But like I should try to watch a horror movie every day for the month of October. I think that'd be really interesting, and then like I could like talk about it on the podcast. Like I wouldn't go into detail like this movie and see in the first 20 minutes. Like I wouldn't do that. I would just give like my rating and why I rated it that way for each movie or whatever. And then what I could do is I could either do it all at once, or I could do like, so let's say my first episode in October is on the 8th. So I could do with the movies that I watch October 1st through 7th, I could like, give my thoughts on those movies. And then, my episode 2 weeks later on the 5th, or not 15th, the 22nd, there we go. God, that was bad math. The 22nd, I could give my thoughts on the 8th through the 21st or whatever. I think that'd actually be pretty fun to do. And I would watch ones that I haven't seen, like, which, 31 horror movies that I haven't seen. I literally have a list of that on my phone. So I think I might do that. I think that'd be interesting. So like that would be cool. And then like or like I said, I'll keep it to where I don't rate them until the final episode of October or whatever it is. And then I'll rate all of them together for like the Halloween special. And honestly, I just thought about this just now. Maybe we'll do a Halloween episode. Like I wanted to do an episode. I mentioned this with Nia like around Halloween time because her and I both really like horror movies. But I'm thinking, because like Halloween's not on a Wednesday. I think it's on a Tuesday or a Monday. So I'm thinking like, what if I had an episode come out that week, like my normal my normal like Wednesday, and then or like whatever it is, and then I have an episode just for that Monday. Though I think that could be kind of interesting. Yeah, Halloween's a Monday. Halloween's on a Monday, so I think this is just a thought, and let me know what you guys think. If I do like a little Halloween special, so I would still be on the same schedule every other week. I would still do like Wednesday, skip a Wednesday, and then the next Wednesday, but I would just have an extra episode on Halloween, so it wouldn't affect my other schedule. Like let's say I was supposed to have an episode that Wednesday, I would still have an episode that Wednesday. But it would just be, it just, wouldn't be related to the Halloween special. I think that would be actually cool. I literally just thought about that. So that's actually I actually like that idea. That plus the Halloween challenge, I think would be fun. It gives me something to do, and it'll give good content for a Halloween episode. And maybe I could maybe Nia and I could watch, not together, but like, on our own, watch 31 horror movies and then give our rating, and then try to watch as many similar ones that we can. Obviously, ones that we haven't seen would be better. I think it's a good idea. I'm also just thinking out loud right now, so this might not happen. Don't get your hopes up, but I think that'd be cool. It'd be really cool to do the Halloween special. That's all I'm gonna say, because I don't know if once I start actually working and like become busy around that time, if I'm gonna like have the time to have like if I have 2 episodes that week, or if I'm supposed to have a Wednesday episode that week. I don't know if I'd have time to do a Wednesday episode and a Halloween episode, so I would potentially have to choose on that, but we will see. And I'd have to map it out too, and like see like what my if I was gonna have an episode that week or the week before or whatever. But let me know if you guys would be interested in Halloween special, and me doing the challenge. I know I talk about horror movies a lot, and I know that it's not everybody's forte, which is totally fine. But just let me know if you'd be interested in that at all. I think it'd be really interesting. And if I do the Halloween challenge, like not Halloween challenge, the October, like a horror movie every day of October, I would just talk about that in the Halloween special. I wouldn't just talk about it in each episode. It would just be in the Halloween special that it would be talked about. So something to think about, because I'm trying to ramp up my horror game. I've been working on that this year. Actually, by the way, this is not an ad, obviously, who would sponsor me, but I have this app that I saw. It's actually funny. I saw this ad on TikTok, and usually like you see an ad on TikTok, it's like, all right. But I saw this ad on TikTok for an app called Q, and it's just Queue, like a waiting queue. And what it is, it's a movie app that you can basically put a list. If you were like me, you probably have a list of movies in your phone, that you want to see, and maybe you even have ones like I have some friends that have a list of movies that they have seen just so they don't forget, and they don't go on Netflix. But have I seen this? And then they start it and like, yes, I have, because I've literally done that before. and you can literally copy and paste that list of movies in your notes or whatever, and you can put it into this app, and it'll pop up, and you can add them to your queue, or if you've already seen them, you can say whether there's like a thumbs up and a thumb. I just did thumbs up and I did a thumbs down. There's a thumbs up, a thumbs down, and then a heart. Like you can either say you disliked it, you liked it, or you loved it. And then once you click one of those, you can have the option to comment why. And usually what I do is I just like write like my rating. So I rate it out of 10. So like, oh, this movie was a 4 out of 10 because the ending was predictable and the story wasn't very original. Like, you can say whatever you want, or you just don't have to say anything at all. But it's really cool. Here's the coolest part. You can say what streaming services you have. So if you have like Hulu and Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon Prime and HBO Max, whatever, you select all the ones you have, and then you enter in the movies that you have on this list that you want to see, and it'll show you what movies are available to you based on your streaming services. And so it'll say like free to me, and then it'll say like pay it or whatever. And so for me on my list, and like I said, this is not an ad, but I'm really talking like it's an ad. But for me, I have a list of 42 movies, and most of them are horror movies. Like I added a couple non-horror the other day because there's some classics that I need to see. But like I have 42 movies on this list that I haven't seen. 31 of them are free to me. 31 of them are available to me on any of like the streaming platforms that I currently have. And then 11 of them are paid, and it literally just has it in tabs, and it's the coolest thing to me because it's like, as opposed to, because it's something that I've been struggling with, because I mentioned it like a while back that I've been trying to watch more horror movies, and I have been. It's so annoying, like Googling and trying to find if it's on Netflix or Hulu or what it's on. It literally can be a pain, and then half the time the movie you're trying to watch isn't even available, so it's just like, oh my god. But having this app is like a lifesaver because it saves you all that time. You just, even if it's not on your list, you can just search up the movie on there. Like, all right, I want to know where this movie's at, and you just search it up, and it'll be like, boom, it is available on this, or it's not available anywhere or whatever. So, highly recommend that app if you like have a movie list, or or even you can use it for TV shows too. By the way, it does work for TV shows. I just don't have a list of TV shows that I want to watch. But yeah, I highly recommend that app. It's time saving. It's fun to like keep track of, and you can also share it with friends if you have like a group of friends that like are, you guys are movie, quote unquote critics to each other or whatever. You can use that as well. So highly recommend it. Like I said, not an ad, but if you want to sponsor me, Q, I'm down. I'm so down. So that was crazy. An actual TikTok ad that was actually like, it was helpful and beneficial to me. I thought that was like kind of wild to me, but hey, it's sometimes a clock's right twice a day. Or a broken clock. I ruined that. I'm not even gonna try to save that because I ruined it. So, all right. So I've been talking for a little while, as per usual. We're gonna go into our rank up. Yep. We're going into the rank up, and this rank up, guys. So I was struggling because we've done a lot of these, and I don't want to say we're near the end of the rank up, saga, because there's always other ideas, and when you have guests on, you can do, you can even repeat a topic that you've done before, because you can get, like, if I've done one solo, I could get a guest on and do it with them, and it'd be more interesting because like I get their perspective and whatnot. But I do think we're running towards the end of here, which I do have ideas and whatnot for other like games to give this one a break and stuff, so don't worry. But I do know, like, Eric has told me, Eric was my episode 1 guest, if you guys don't know. He was like, it sucks, dude, I didn't get to do a rank up because I didn't start doing them until like, episode 7 or 8 or whatever. So like, for people that had them before that didn't get to do it. It's like, I know Eric, Nia, and Jose, I think, were the 3 that didn't get to do it. So when I have them back on, I'll have to do a rank up with them, of course. But I do think we'll be replacing this with something new soon. So just be on the lookout for that. And if you have any ideas yourself, you can always comment down below and let me know. I'm always open to ideas. But anyways, this rank up today is one that I think is going to become controversial because I got some controversial. I got some texts and messages last time from my group chat, which has Eric and Jose in it, about my board games, which I didn't think the board games were gonna like upset people that much, but I didn't upset them. But they didn't understand the mousetrap, and they didn't understand Uno, and I was like, dude, Uno's classic, but it's okay. It's fine. Like, I was getting some hate, and I didn't explain this at the time, but I should have said it then. I don't love 2-player board games or card games, really. I prefer to be able to do it with multiple, which is why I like a game like Uno. over, say, like a game like Connect 4. Connect 4 is cool and all, but like, it gets old to me fast because there's just two people, And if you're doing like a game night with multiple people, a game like Uno or even a game like Monopoly, which I don't really like that much, but like it can be more fun because it's more people, like more chaos can happen and more toxicity can happen in Uno, more skipping, you know what I mean? So I should have said that then, but I spaced it. So anyways, this rank up, I think we'll get some people upset, and I haven't obviously like done it yet, but I do think people will get mad at me because almost every rank up I get a message from somebody they're like, really? So this rank up, I'm gonna be ranking up cereals. Yeah, that's. I didn't know what to rank up. I spent probably like 20 to 30 minutes like trying to find something to do, and I had an idea to do Pixar movies, but I couldn't find like a good bracket that had it. So if I do want to do Pixar movies, I'll have to do it myself. Like I'll have to make it myself. But I found a cereal one that's solid. I didn't make this one myself, so that's something I need to preface. So if your favorite cereal is not on here, blame whoever made this. So yeah, I don't know why I chose this one because I know it's just gonna upset people. I just know. Like I don't think I have weird like cereal tastes, but I just every single one, Eric or Jose or my friend Josh, who's in that group chat, I've gotten a message about. So I've gotten hate. I got a lot of hate for Lion King, and I got a lot of hate for Monster House. I almost said Monsters House. I can't talk. Which, to be fair, like I mentioned, Monster House, that was a bit egregious. But okay, we're going into cereals, and this has a mixture of just like your sugary, cereals with like some healthier cereals as well. I'm gonna be going off of what I've had and like ones that I prefer. And I the rules. If I've never had the cereal, I can't put it through. So the one that I have had would automatically go through. So this first matchup, we have Fruity Pebbles versus Count Chocula. I don't think I've ever had Count Chocula. I've obviously had chocolate cereal before, but I don't think I've had Count Chocolate, and I like Fruity Pebbles. I'll go Fruity Pebbles. I mean I think Fruity Pebbles would have won either way, but all right. Next matchup we have Captain Crunch Berries. It's the all berries one, right? Yeah, and then no, it's not the all berries one. It's the one Captain Crunch Berries versus Kellogg's Red Berries. I'm going Captain Crunch. I think the berries Captain Crunch is my favorite out of the Captain Crunches. I do like the original, and I think Captain Crunch gets hate. It did take, because people like say it like destroys the top of your mouth, and I'm like, dude, just soak it in the milk. You have the milk there for a reason. Like, I don't understand. Like you're like yeah, it just like destroys the top of my mouth. I'm like, hey, are you not putting milk in your cereal? Because like, and I get obviously like the top of it isn't necessarily like gonna be like as covered in milk and as soggy or whatever, but like just push it down a little bit. You push it down a little bit, it becomes less firm. That's just how things work. Do you just, when you cook pasta, do you put it in there for a minute and then in the boiling water for a minute and then you just eat it like a behemoth? Like, no. It's just crazy to me. Anyways, we have Cocoa Puffs versus Apple Jacks. Ooh. I see. Again, here's the thing. This might be controversial, but I feel like if you've had one chocolate cereal, you've had them all. Cocoa Puffs are good, don't get me wrong, but like, what sets it apart? Apple Jacks, on the other hand, I really like Apple Jacks. I like Cocoa Puffs too, but I think I'm gonna go Apple Jacks here, and it's not an insult to Cocoa Puffs. Cocoa Puffs is good, but I like Apple Jacks because there's not like a bunch of ones like it. Cocoa Puffs, I doubt is much different than Count Chocula, and it's not much different than like Cocoa Pebbles. So you know what I mean? Obviously, there's just the difference is like the form of the cereal. So I'm going to go with Apple Jacks. The closest thing to Apple Jacks is Fruit Loops, like just the shape. The taste isn't the same, obviously, but I'll go Apple Jacks there. All right, this one we have Oat Crunch Cinnamon Cheerios versus Honey Nut Cheerios. How does Oat Crunch Cinnamon Cheerios make this list? Honey Nut Cheerios winning by a landslide. Honey Nut Cheerios, I'm just going to say it right now, is going to be hard to beat. So hard to beat. I think Honey Nut Cheerios it's so good. It's one of the better cereals. I mean, it's cereal, so it's not great for you, but it's actually like it's better for you than Cocoa Puffs or whatever. So this one we have Frosted Flakes versus Wheaties. I don't know if I've had Wheaties, honestly. I don't know if I've ever actually had Wheaties. I've heard of them, obviously, but I don't know if I've personally ever had it. So I'll go Frosted Flakes there, which I like Frosted Flakes anyway. So, we have the original Captain Crunch versus Honey Bunches of Oats. Honey roasted honey bunches of oats. By the way, it's Cap and Crunch. It's not Captain. It's Cap, apostrophe N crunch, but we all say Captain. At least most of us do. And I'm trying to say Cap'n, but it sounds funny, so I'm probably just say Captain Crunch. Anyways, like I said, I do love. I think this is probably my second favorite Captain Crunch out of like the three main ones. There's like the peanut butter, this one, and then the berries mixed with the original ones. But I do like Honey Bunches of Oats too. I'll go Honey Bunches of Oats just because I already have one Captain Crunch going through. So I'll do Honey Bunches of Oats because if I had to choose a Captain Crunch, that wouldn't be the one I would choose. So that's why I chose that. Okay, we have Trix versus Crave. Kellogg's Crave chocolate flavor. I've never had Kellogg's Crave, so we're going with Trix. I can't even have Trix anymore because they're for kids, so that sucks. All right, next we have Oreos. Oreos? Dude, what? They have Oreo cereal? I don't know. They're shaped almost like a Cheerio. I don't know if that'd be good. Versus Rice Krispies. I've never had Oreos, so it's Rice Krispies, but I was just so taken aback by Oreos. I've never had those before. All right, next we have Fruity Pebbles versus Captain Crunch Berries. All right, this might be where people don't like me, but I'm going Captain Crunch Berries here. I really like the Captain Crunch Berries. Fruity Pebbles is good and salt and it's classic, but I'm going with the berries. I love the Captain Crunch Berries. All right, we have Apple Jacks versus Honey Nut Cheerios. It's Honey Nut Cheerios all day. Frosted Flakes versus Honey Bunches of Oats. That's tough. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm gonna go Honey Bunches of Oats. I don't think there's a wrong choice there. Trix versus Rice Krispies. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't remember what Trix tastes like. I've had Trix probably less than 5 times in my life, and so I just don't remember what it tastes like. So I'm gonna go with Rice Krispies based off of that. But I think if I remembered what Trix tasted like, it would move on. So just keep that in mind. So if you really like Trix, don't be mad at me. That's based off of just me not remembering because I haven't had Trix very much and I haven't had it in a really long time. Oh, this is tough. This is probably I just slurred so hard. I'm drunk. This is probably my 2 favorite cereals. I think like 2 of my favorite cereals. I shouldn't say it's my 2 favorite, but these is 2 of my favorite cereals going off against each other right here. Captain Crunch Berries versus Honey Nut Cheerios. I'm going to go with Honey Nut Cheerios because I do like that they're healthier, and it's more simple, and they are better on your mouth. Like, I was complaining about people, saying that these Captain Crunch can just, like, destroy your mouth, which, by the way, doesn't destroy mine, but, like, I understand, like, how it can happen if you rush eating, if you eat too fast or whatever, and I just feel like Honey Nut Cheerios, man, there's just because, like, regular Cheerios are okay, but then you just put that little bit of honey on it. It's so good. So I'm going to go with that. Captain Crunch Berries is still one of my favorites, but it's, I'm going for, like, a bit of the healthier option, which I don't eat super healthy anyways, but if I had to choose between the 2, I would go Honey Nut Cheerios. All right, next we have Honey Bunches of Oats versus Rice Krispies. I'm going to go Honey Bunches of Oats. Oh, we're going to have 2 Honey Nut Cheerios is going to beat Honey Nut Bunches of Oats. That's the matchup right now. It's Honey Nut Cheerios versus Honey Bunches of Oats. Honey Nut Cheerios is going to win that. I just like Honey Nut Cheerios a little better. I do. I like honey flavored cereal though, apparently, because those were 2 in the final. So, and I'm not saying that Honey Nut Cheerios is gonna win. By the way, a sugary, like, unhealthy cereal can win because I do eat that still. I haven't had Honey Nut Cheerios actually in a long time, but I just remember, like, having Honey Nut Cheerios all the time when I was growing up, and I really enjoyed it. Next we have Golden Grahams. So we're on the other side of the bracket now. By the way, other side of the bracket. I'm all over the place. We have Golden Grahams versus Lucky Charms. I've never had Golden Grahams, so Lucky Charms it is. I love. Here's actually, I'm going to say this about Lucky Charms. Actually, I'll just say it later. I'll say it later. Next, we have Raisin Bran versus Cornflakes. I'm going Cornflakes. I don't really like raisins, so Raisin Bran versus Cornflakes. We have Special K versus Fruit Loops. Going Fruit Loops. Sorry, Special K. We have Chocolate Cheerios. Dude, how many variants of Cheerios are there? There's more variants of Cheerios than there are of, like, the COVID virus. What the hell? We have Chocolate Cheerios versus Kellogg's Pops. I actually like the Kellogg's Pops. I haven't had Chocolate Cheerios, so Kellogg's Pops has to win, but I actually really like the Kellogg's Pops. It's really good. All right, next we have Kix versus regular Cheerios. How many versions of Cheerios did this person put on the list? Are you sponsored by them? Like, I'm going to go regular Cheerios because I don't think I've ever had Kix. And if I have, I don't remember. But I'm going to go with just regular Cheerios. Also, General Mills and Kellogg's, how much money, like, how much are those companies worth? Because they just own the cereal game. It's not even funny. All right, next up we have Life versus Reese's Puffs. Oh, dude, you guys know I love me some Reese's. I'm going Reese's Puffs. All right, next we have Chocolate Life versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Oh, I'm going Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is so good. Oh, my goodness. All right, next we have Cocoa Krispies versus Cookie Crisp. I remember as a kid, I saw a commercial for Cookie Crisp, and I wanted it so bad. I wanted it so bad. And I remember like I went to a few stores with my mom, and like we just couldn't find it. And then we eventually found it, and then I had it, and it was like, okay. You know? It was like not that great. It wasn't really worth like the time and money spent. I'm going to go Cocoa Krispies, mainly because I think Cookie Crisp is underwhelming. As a kid, like they had that mascot, that little wolf or whatever, and they were trying to sell you on it, and they really did. But like I feel like since I didn't show love to like Cocoa Puffs, I'll give Cocoa Krispies the love there. All right, here's Lucky Charms versus Cornflakes. Here's what I want to say about Lucky Charms, and I think we can all agree. We only like Lucky Charms because of the marshmallows, because of the charms. The regular part of the cereal is just very, very bland. If they could make that a little more flavorful, I think Lucky Charms could be the best cereal that there is. Like, that's why I think the Captain Crunch berries one is so good, because the berries themselves are good, obviously, and they do have like an all berries version. But the berries themselves are good. But then when you have like the regular just Captain Crunch, whatever it's called, just like that version, that's still tasty as well. So like, all right, you're like, no matter what, you're getting tasty cereal. But with this, it's like if you run out of marshmallows and you just have like the cardboard box cutouts left in your bowl, you're not gonna enjoy the rest of that bowl of cereal. You know what I mean? So, does it beat Cornflakes though? Cornflakes is plain too. It's just plain old Cornflakes. I haven't had Cornflakes very much, so I'm gonna go Lucky Charms just because I haven't had Cornflakes a ton. But Lucky Charms is more than likely gonna lose the next round. That's not a good matchup at all. Fruit Loops versus Pops. I'm going Fruit Loops. You already know Fruit Loops. Also, isn't it weird that Fruit Loop is spelled F-R-O-O-T and not like how fruit is? I knew that, but people think it's like a Mandela effect, and I'm like, no, it's been. I knew that, like it's been like that, but maybe just because I just liked them as a kid. I don't know. All right, next up we have regular Cheerios versus Reese's Puffs. I'm going Reese's Puffs. You already know. Next up we have Cinnamon Toast Crunch versus Cocoa Krispies. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Honestly, I wasn't a huge Cinnamon Toast Crunch guy. Like I hadn't had it too much, and then but it's like my fiance's favorite cereal. So like we've had some here, and so I've been having it. And oh my god, it's so good. Like I never disliked it. I just didn't have it a ton to where it's like I started like really like it. I'd only have like a bowl every now and then. I was like, all right, this is okay, but no, it's so good. I love it. All right, so next matchup, we now have Lucky Charms versus Fruit Loops, and Fruit Loops is going to win that one. Lucky Charms, you were lucky to make it this far, let's be honest. Reese's Puffs versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Oh, dude. It's hard because Reese's is good. Like, the candy is good. The cereal is okay, though. Like, it's gotten this far, and I think it deserved to get this far because it's solid. But what separates the Reese's Puffs cereal from, like, the peanut butter Captain Crunch? You know what I mean? Like, what separates it? There's not a huge difference in those flavors. You know what I mean? So as much as I'm a Reese's guy, it's my favorite candy, and like peanut butter is my thing. I love that. Like I put it in my protein smoothies, protein shakes, every time. I'm gonna go Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I'm gonna go Cinnamon Toast Crunch here. I'm sorry, Reese's. I'm sorry. Reese's Puffs are good though, and they always have like those absolutely or absolutely. It was absolutely awesome. That's what I was gonna say. I combined awesome and absolutely awesome like commercials where they have like the kid rapping. So, all right, next match we have Fruit Loops versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Ooh, I'm gonna say this right now. Don't get mad at me for whatever I choose here, because I do not think there's a wrong answer here. I don't think there is a wrong answer here. I think if you chose Fruit Loops, that would be understandable. I think if you choose Cinnamon Toast Crunch, that's understandable. So don't be giving me hate. Okay, this is actually a tough one for me. I'm gonna go with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, because that's what I'm leaning. That's just what I'm leaning towards a little bit. But if you choose Fruit Loops and you're a huge Fruit Loops fan, don't come hating, okay? Because I agree. I think Fruit Loops are awesome as well. So don't be hating. All right, guys. That leads us to the championship round. The final matchup we have of this cereal battle royale bracket fight. It's not a battle royale, but we have Honey Nut Cheerios versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch. So we have one really healthy cereal. I'm just kidding. Actually, it's not really healthy. But one healthier, which being healthier than something that's not healthy isn't saying a lot. It's like yeah, it's whatever. I'm not gonna make that analogy. I'll get canceled. But versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Okay, so Honey Nut Cheerios versus Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Whatever your heart desires here, I think you're right. I think there's a good choice here. So there's a reason that these are both in the finale, right? I think these are two of my top 5 cereals. I think, these two, you throw in the Captain Crunch Berries. I think that's my top 3 right there. I really think that's probably my top 3. Throw Reese's Puffs in there and something else is probably my top 5. So this makes sense for me personally. You might have a different list at home, and that's okay. Remember, it's my list and it's my podcast. So I don't want to hear from it. I don't want to hear it. I'm just kidding. If we're being honest, like if I had to choose right now, like what would I personally like to eat? And I think, oh man, this is actually really hard. Like when I was about to say the answer, but then I thought about it and I was like, I don't actually know. Like Honey Nut Cheerios is really good, but obviously like you don't have as much. I feel like you have a little bit less flavor than say like a Cinnamon Toast Crunch. But like it's hard because you can get tired of both flavors. Like Honey Nut Cheerios can be bland at times, obviously, because it's just like Cheerios with honey on it. But then Cinnamon Toast Crunch is like, all right. Sometimes Cinnamon Toast Crunch isn't great. Like if you get like towards a weird part of the box, like towards the end of the box, it's not as good in my opinion. I don't know why, just because it's like older or whatever. I think, oh man, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say it, and if you feel the other way, that's okay. That's okay. But I'm gonna go with Honey Nut Cheerios. I'm going Honey Nut Cheerios because of this. I grew up in a Cheerios household. And then once we ended up getting Honey Nut Cheerios, like it was so good. And I had it for breakfast before school, like every day, Honey Nut Cheerios, for years, like in high school and everything. And it's still something I would eat now. I would enjoy it. I would eat it for breakfast now, like all the time if I had some. It's very good. It's like I keep saying it's like healthy. Obviously, I know it's not like healthy, but it's better for you than most cereals. Not most, but then a lot of the cereals on this list, it's better for you. That's for sure. So I do like that as well, especially since I'm trying to eat healthier so I can get absolutely shredded. So I think if you chose Cinnamon Toast Crunch though, if you were like, wow, I can't believe like Honey Nut Cheerios is like blend or whatever, I totally get that. But I for me, like Honey Nut Cheerios is good. It's got enough flavor with the honey that like makes it sweet enough to where like you actually enjoy it. But Cinnamon Toast Crunch you can't go wrong with. You can't go wrong with the Captain Crunch. You can't go wrong with Fruit Loops or Reese's Puffs or I don't even know what else is on there. If you liked the Cocoa Krispies or Cocoa Puffs or whatever, I'm sorry that those lost so early. I really am. I do like chocolate cereal a bit, but I don't love it. If we're being honest, like it's good, but like I'll have one bowl and I'm good for a while. Honey Nut Cheerios, I could have like multiple days in a row. Same with Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Same with like Fruit Loops and stuff like that. So, all right, that's that. So I'm gonna be ending the episode here. I'll do my little things I wanted to say about the podcast, and then we'll be done. I'll do my send off. So one thing I wanted to say is I hope you guys are enjoying the 1 week on, 1 week off format. I'm really enjoying it. It's working well for me. I changed the TikTok up a little bit. So the TikTok is it was Frivolous Pod. I changed it up a little bit. The link will be still down below. I'm not gonna be posting clips of the podcast anymore. I haven't been doing that. I'm mainly just gonna be doing clips of like, it'll be just me being myself, like kind of like behind the scenes stuff, me like using filters to like be funny. It's almost gonna be like a personal account, but it's not. You know what I mean? But it's like it's for the podcast. So I just wanted that to be known. So if you follow the podcast on TikTok and you see the username and the whole profile is different, that's why. It's just gonna be like me like having fun, like doing, like I said, doing filters and like just doing funny stuff and whatever. It's really not gonna. It's basically gonna be like a personal account for me. And then like there'll be times where maybe I talk about the podcast or like I mention something from it, but it's just I felt like instead of just like promoting the podcast on TikTok, I'll link you guys to a TikTok that's about me, so you can kind of just see like myself, and I can still be funny on there. And then like if I gain followers on there, I can just send them to the podcast, because I can't link anything right now, which I mentioned. Obviously, I can't link like the podcast on anything, which is unfortunate. And so I would rather like maybe I can try to build a little bit more of a following, and then once I can actually link stuff, I'll link it. But like, or if like I have a video that goes viral, which I don't think I ever will, but like if some reason that happened, I could obviously just link it, the podcast down below. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. I just kind of want to. I kind of don't want it to just be like this is the only way you see me. Like it's just through the podcast. I want it to be like where I'm just chilling, like using like filters to do like ranking stuff or whatever it is that I can do on there. So I want it to be you see that funny side of it. I think I'm somewhat funny on this podcast, but I think it's a lot easier for me to be funnier on like a 10 to 15 second clip than it is for like an hour episode of a podcast. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. The link will be down below. And then the next thing and the final thing I wanted to say is and this is something that my fiance brought up to me last night, and I'm actually very, very open to this idea, and something that I'm very heavily going to consider is now that we've switched to this, where it's every other week for the podcast. I'm actually thinking about getting a co-host. Reason for that is there's a couple of reasons. First of all, like I will say I kind of shot myself in the foot with how I started this podcast. I shouldn't have like declared a format for it where it's like, all right, 1 week's this, 1 week's that. Like I should have just been like, we'll sometimes have guests on, we sometimes won't. I obviously shouldn't even have started off with doing it every week as well. That was an ambitious goal, which I've talked about obviously. So I if I could go back and change things, I would. I wouldn't have committed to the format of like 1 week having a guest on, 1 week just me, and vice versa. Because obviously, as you can tell, I haven't been following that format lately. So that's one thing, and another thing about that is, I think I'm kind of going off a different topic here. So maybe this is really like a second thing, and then the third thing will be my co-host. When it comes to guests, it's going honestly, and this may be frustrating, but like it's gonna just be random. I think, because I've started listening to other podcasts, like for example, it's called Two Bears One Cave. It's Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer's podcast. I started listening to that, and they will sometimes have guests on, like every like it's random. They'll have guests on whatever, it's their friends or whatever, and sometimes it'll be just one of them and then a friend, or sometimes it'll be both of them. Sometimes it'll be the two of them and a guest or whatever. So I saw that and I'm like, well, it's random. They don't have it like a certain way. They just have people on when they feel like it or when they have the time to get them on, when the schedules match up. And I feel like that makes sense, especially for me when it's not my job. Like it's their job, like they get paid to do it. But like so I feel like that's what I'm gonna do. It's gonna just be random. And like obviously, if I know a guest is gonna be on, like if I have it scheduled in my for me, I'll tell you guys, all right, next week's episode we have a special guest coming on or whatever. Or not next week, but like the next episode we have. So it's not like you'll be totally surprised if there's a guest on or not, but I am leaning towards just doing that. Because if I just do it random, it's easier for me because then I don't feel pressure to like try to find somebody every week, or every other week. That's just a lot easier for me. Like it's just it takes stress off my shoulders, especially once I start working again. It's gonna be so much harder to like fit schedules with all that. So there's that. So co-host thing. If I get a co-host, I would still have guests on. They would just come on far less frequently because I wouldn't need a guest as much because I would have somebody to talk to. But I would still try to have guests come on, like just because I think it would still be interesting to interview people. I would need a bigger space and we wouldn't do it here, like right where I'm at. But we would still have guests come on and like I'd have to figure out audio for all that too, which you guys know how great I am with audio. It took me how many episodes to fix the audio issues we had. So I'm thinking about the co-host because I've noticed on like my YouTube channel specifically, and this doesn't offend me in any way. I agree with this. The episodes that I have guests on do a lot better than the episodes that are just me, which makes sense because like that guest will watch the episode or they'll have friends or family that will watch the episode. So that totally makes sense. And like I said, that does not hurt my feelings because the episodes are better when I have guests on. I can ask them questions. We can bounce topics off of each other. There's good stories. There's a lot more like laughter and whatnot. So I understand that. And I think having a co-host would help. It would alleviate a lot of the pressure off of me. I wouldn't feel as much pressure to like continuously talk. Obviously, I wouldn't feel as much pressure to prepare and figure out stuff to talk about. And I could have way less prepared to talk about if I have a co-host because we would just come up with stuff on the spot. It'd be a lot easier when you're having a conversation. So I'm thinking about doing that. And I don't know if the co-host would be here with me, which I'm totally open to them being here with me, or if they'd be virtual. Because if it works better for them that way, there's ways to do it both ways, so I'm fine with either way. And I have a couple people in mind. I haven't asked them yet or talked to them about it yet, because like I said, my fiance mentioned this idea to me like at 11 o'clock last night. But I hope you guys did not just hear my stomach make a noise. That's so embarrassing. I think the co-host would be a lot of fun, and I think it actually would rejuvenate me a little bit. Kind of like how this every other week episodes has rejuvenated me. I think having a co-host would help me a lot, because I enjoy having guests on, and if I know that I have a co-host with me every week that I can joke around with and laugh with and whatnot, it would just be a lot more fun and a lot easier for me. So that's what I'm thinking about. And like I said, the people that I'm thinking about having be co-hosts they would be great options, and they would help out a lot. And another thing too, if we do this co-host thing, they do not necessarily have to be permanent co-hosts. What we could do is I could have a specific co-host, say for just an example, 10 episodes, and then, I'll get another co-host for 10 episodes. You know what I mean? You just do like 10 on and then 10 with a different person. We could do it in like that, or we could just do it to the where like I do have this set co-host, but like if they can't make it one day, I can just replace them with a different host for that week or whatever. So keep that in mind. If you have any thoughts or anything like that at all about that topic, please comment. Let me know. If you're on the YouTube, comment on the YouTube. Or if you're not on YouTube, you can go to the YouTube and comment if you have a really strong opinion about it. Either way, I'm open to whatever. I just want to see like what you guys would like. I do think if I had like a legitimate permanent co-host, it'd be a lot better. But considering my problem is that there's a couple people that I'm considering, and I want both of them. But I don't want 3 hosts because there's not enough space for 3 hosts, and I don't know how to do the audio for that. So, we'll see. We'll figure it out. I'm not stressing about it, but we'll figure that out. And if we have to do virtual, I know how to do it like virtually. I know how to film that virtually, so like I could be in person. It doesn't matter. You guys don't care about that. So let me know what you think about co-hosts, because it was something that I even considered before I even started the podcast. I was talking to my friends about it, which is why I started the first ever episode with a guest, because I wanted that guest to help alleviate that pressure from me. So, a co-host would be really nice for me. And like I said, I think it would really help me feel better about this podcast. I feel great about it right now, but like I would be even more excited to do it than I already am. So let me know. All that being said, that rambling, see, that's why I save it for the end, because I just rambled and that was so boring and half of you clicked off. So, anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. It was a solid episode. We ranked some cereals. We talked about car washes. We talked about Halloween. So yeah, there's a couple things I want you guys to let me know on. Let me know about like the October thing, the Halloween special. Let me know about the co-host. Let me know about anything and everything. Comment anything you want down below. Not anything you want, but just comment down below what your thoughts on stuff are. And hey, if you have a topic idea that you're like, I don't know how he hasn't talked about this yet, you can comment that too. I would love to like have like topics that you guys suggest to me commented. So feel free. Or if there's something you want me to rank up, you're like, dude, you should rank up this. Like, comment that if there's something that you think it would be really cool for me. So just comment that down below. Let me know. I really appreciate everybody that's tuning in for these 17 episodes. I know some people have been here since episode 1. Some people have been here since episode 8 or whatever. It's fine. I appreciate each and every one of yous. Each and every one of yous. I don't know why I tend East Coast there. Okay. I appreciate it. I will see you guys in 2 weeks. We'll talk then. Again, if you're listening to the podcast, the link to the YouTube is down below. If you want to subscribe, you can see the video podcast. If you're watching it, you can, and you can't watch it the next time. Guess what? The links are down below for Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. I don't know what the Google one is. Not Google Play, but the Google Podcast or whatever. What else? Oh, TikTok is linked down below. That's it. I don't have anything else. Again, thank you guys. I'm wishing you good mental health. Have a great couple weeks. Enjoy. I think by the time I talk to you next, I will be working. So no, I won't be working. I'll almost be working. I'll be starting work the next day. So hey, we gotta enjoy these 2 weeks together, right guys? So anyways, I'll see you guys then. Peace.